What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in again. If you haven't, guys, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell and click on all, so that way you get notified every time I put out a video, or if I do a live video. Sometimes I will do a live video. I will try to do some form of a giveaway. I've done 2 giveaways in the whole time that I've been doing YouTube. Both of those have been a SixGill rod and reel combination. I might do another one. I usually do it when I'm trying to reach up to a certain number of subscribers. Last time I think I did, the last one I did was at 250. So I might try to push that up again. Maybe let's see if we can get to 500. You know, if I can get 500 subscribers, we might do another giveaway. I don't know what it would be this time. Who knows? I might do a giveaway to send you a monster bass. I'll pay for the monster bass, and then I send it to you, so that way you can experience a monster bass bag and hopefully get out there and catch some fish. If you like that idea of what a monster bass is, it is a company that has partnered with several different lure companies. A lot of your well-known lure companies, Strike King, Z-Man, I'm looking at my wall here behind the camera, Booyah, Strike King, what did I say? Strike King, Z-Man, Booyah, Big Bite Baits, X Zone, a lot of the baits that you hear a lot of your professional anglers using, Monster Bass has teamed up with a lot of them to get lures to you guys. Maybe even lures that you go to your favorite bait store and you walk right past these lures. Monster Bass will send them to you, so you have an opportunity to use those and maybe get you interested, and the next time you go to the bait store, you'd want to buy those lures. So if you like that idea and you want to get out there and try some new lures, new techniques, but you really don't want to go spend that money at that store to buy those lures, and then you're kind of sitting there like, just wasting my money, buy you a monster bass, because you'll get a whole lot of baits, and sometimes you're really surprised at the lures that you get. I'll leave a link down below so you can go to Monster Bass and look at what they've got. They have, you know, you can either purchase one of the bags where it's got an assortment of lures, and a lot of times that's based on, I guess you can say, the season of the fishing, whether it's spring, summer, fall, winter, whatever. And then you can go on there and buy individual lures that, you know, something that you might have already used and you want to get some more from Monster Bass. I'll leave that link down below. As always, I'll drop a link for everything else that I use. My SixGill rod and reels, Tungsten weights, the Aquaflage shirts that I wear. In fact, I'm wearing one of the Aquaflage hats now. I'll leave a link for all that stuff down below. At the end of this video, if you like this video, please smash that thumbs up button. Drop a comment. Let me know that you like the video, what you like about the video. Drop a comment on what you don't like about the video, so that way I can try to improve. And please share the videos. That way it helps my channel grow. As of right now, folks, as of right now, I do not get paid by YouTube to do this. I started doing this because I just wanted to show what I like to do on my off time. I'm sure I've mentioned several times before on the channel, I am a law enforcement officer, and I just like to show what I like to do when I'm not at work. This is some of the stuff I like to do: fishing, hunting. I go to the gym and work out. I go to the gun range, practice some of my tactical shooting and stuff like that, and I thought I could bring that to you guys. Sometimes I really don't care if I get paid by YouTube to do this. I just like to do it, and I thought that maybe I could help somebody else who probably don't know as much as what I do, or maybe they have a false perception of certain things. I thought that I would be able to help share that with you guys and maybe clear up a few things. I am still learning a lot of things myself. I am by no way a professional angler. I don't consider myself in some cases like a professional shooter. I usually leave that for the guys who were, you know, special ops back in the military. I did serve in the military, but I was not special ops, special forces, or anything like that. So I don't consider myself really as a expert in tactical stuff. I do know some stuff, but I don't consider myself an expert because I'm always learning. So with all that being said, folks, again, thank you for tuning in. We're going to jump in. This is the February Monsterbass bag. So as always, you have your booklet, okay? Your booklet that has all your information in it. It's got, I think they took it out. They used to have recipes in these for different things revolving around fish and stuff like that. But you have your information about when Monsterbass goes live. It says Wednesdays on YouTube. So every Wednesday at 7 p.m. they have Monsterbass live on YouTube. So they have different people, different what am I starting to say? Different professionals that have come on there, talk to you guys about some of the baits, maybe even how to use the electronics and stuff like that to help you optimize your time on the water, so you're spending more time catching fish and not driving around the lake looking for the fish and then having a hard time trying to catch them because you're not working the lures the right way. So tune in for that, get you some good information. And then you have information about some of the baits that's in the bag, how to rig them, how to fish them, where to fish them, things like that. So you get a lot of good information in these books pertaining to the lures. You also get this cool little calendar in the book to tell you your water temperatures and what lures to throw. Also the water clarity, how to throw those lures, how to retrieve those lures, and kind of what to expect from the fish's behavior based on your region and the conditions you're faced with on the water. Also, that's another cool thing about Monsterbass. It is regional based, meaning if you live on the West Coast, when you order your lures for the West Coast, you're not going to get lures that have colors that would benefit you more down in Florida. You're not going to get lures that's going to be more beneficial for up north in the New York area. The lures that are going to come to you, the colors, the size, all of that stuff is going to be more specific to your region. Again, giving you the best opportunities to go out here and catch a lot of fish and catch big fish because you're throwing the right baits. So another good reason why you should jump on the Monsterbass. So with that being said, okay, let me flip back through here, see what the first bait in here is. And the first thing we have is a winter jig head minnow tips. So I got these minnows here from 6 cents. This is called the Strobe Shaker 4.0. This is a really cool looking bait. I don't really want to open this package, but I might do it anyways. Okay, so of the few times that I don't ever bring a knife with me. I don't know if you guys can see, but right here on these minnows, they have a lip made out of the plastic, and I'm assuming that when you rig that up as you're retrieving that minnow, these are very small minnows, by the way, so you're going to use a small jig head. Let me see real quick. Okay, this does not come with jig heads. A lot of times when you have soft plastic like that, they'll also throw in a pack of jig heads to pair it up. But you're going to use a small jig head on these, and it has this lip right here that's already made from the plastic. If you do a steady retrieve, I'm going to assume that that lip right there is going to help make a shimmy motion. So now it's going to put that swimming action on these lures to make them look like small little bait fish. This color is called olive shad. So this is the pattern and everything is a really good shad imitating bait. So I would probably put this on like a 3/16 ounce jig head, throw that thing out there on a spinning setup, and I would either do a steady retrieve. I would also say, depending on how you're trying to work the lure, what water column, if you're trying to keep it up a little bit, I would probably hold my rod tip up. If I'm trying to get it down or stay kind of low, I would probably point my rod tip down at the water and just do a steady retrieve. With that lip, you should feel the vibration from that, so your rod tip would be vibrating. If that is the case, that's how you're going to tell if you're getting that bite, other than you actually feeling when that fish is on and your rod tip loads up and bend. And when I say load up, as you're reeling, your rod tip should kind of just twitch like this. Now, if you get a bite on there, that rod tip should just bow over from that fish. Or if you notice this vibration from that lip, and then all of a sudden you don't feel that vibration no more, that could be an indication that you've got a fish on there, because it's disrupting the vibration of the way that lip is designed. Kind of like when you're fishing a chatterbait or something like that. You get something hung up on there, it throws off the way that bait is supposed to naturally move, and you no longer feel that vibration. That's usually a good indication that there might be something on there. So you could probably also put these on a drop shot and kind of work it that way. I would probably just throw this on a jig head, and that would probably work best for you. So the picture does not match up to that, but for the winter jig head minnow tips, winter bass rarely locked onto the bank. So that means they're not going to be up shallow. They're going to be out there deep somewhere, suspended somewhere. For those of you that have the forward-facing sonar, check your creek channels, check your points and your humps, check open water bait balls, suspended fish over deep water, and transition areas near wintering holes. So that I guess you can say that highway that goes from up shallow to going out deep, checking those transitional areas where bass can stop. If you think about it, it's like a gas station for them, from transitioning from shallow out to deep. It's an area where they can stop and kind of find a little spot to hide and wait for bait fish to come by them to give them a nice easy attack point for a meal, and then continue on out to the deep water, or vice versa, coming from deep water into that shallow. These are transitional areas where the fish have some structure or something to relate to ambush any kind of bait fish that might be coming by. So there are some tips on that one. Places to throw these, your depth and the location. Structure and cover. The structure, humps, open water, and points. Your depth, you're fishing anywhere from 20 to 50 feet. So when you throw that thing out there, you might have to wait. If you got forward-facing sonar, a lot of these new forward-facing sonar baits, you'll be able to see your bait drop down on your forward-facing sonar. For the guys that don't have that stuff, probably one of the things you can do is throw that lure out there, and when it hits the water, leave your bail open and just let it sink and count it down until you get to the bottom. And now you know your range on how deep you are, because how far you've counted. So now, as you work that lure back and you're trying to figure out, are they on the bottom? Are they in the middle? Close to the top? If you get a bite somewhere in the middle, so now you know when you throw it out there, you leave that bail open and count it down until you get to that same number, until you're about that middle column. Close your bail and then start working your bait. Okay, we're going to move on. Lipless crankbaits. So let me see what we got in here. That is not a lipless. That is not. And that is not. So I don't have a lipless crankbait. Lipless crankbait, for everybody who don't know what lipless crankbaits are, old school Bill Lewis rattle traps. It's a crankbait, but it doesn't have a lip on it, hence the name lipless. Now, since Bill Lewis had the first rattle trap lipless crankbait. All the other companies that made one after that, they can't use the term rattle trap. Even though when people see them, that's what they always want to call them, as a rattle trap. But the rattle trap is a Bill Lewis brand. So for Strike King, they have their series that they call their red eye shads. The eyes on those lures are red, but they're lipless crankbaits. So they call theirs red eye shad. I'm not sure about the other companies, but everybody has their own version. Trying to see. So I'm looking at one on my wall. It is a Berkeley. It's a lipless crankbait. They call theirs a War Pig. So different brands have their different names, but they're all going to be in the same section in your bait stores. So wherever you find your lipless crankbaits, that is where you'll find whatever brand you're looking for. That's where you'll find them. Awesome baits to use. I don't have one in my bag, so we're going to move on from that one. Fishing. This one says fishing a football jig for winter bass, but it's funny, the picture is a square bill crankbait. So we're going to talk about football head jig, and what I have in here, this jig, it is a Z-Man cross-eye flipping jig, not exactly a football head jig. What we mean by football head jig, if you guys can see that head on that jig there, the style is not a football head. Well, it kind of is. When you go to the store and you look at your jigs, if it has more of a cone shape head pointing forward, that's more of your swim jig style, and that head is designed that way to cut through grass a lot easier. It makes its way through the grass easier. Football head jig, if you look at it, it's in the shape of a football. So the best thing about a football head jig, you throw that thing out very, very far. You try to bomb that thing out there. It is a bottom bait. You want to let that thing hit the bottom. Fishing a football head jig is about like fishing a Carolina rig. You want to maintain contact to the bottom. So you throw that thing out there, you let it get down to the bottom. You want to point your rod tip forward towards your bait and reel up any slack. And once your line is tight, you don't do it real fast, but you just want to sweep to the side, because you're trying to maintain that bottom contact. You want that bait to stay on the bottom, and you just want to slowly pull to the side. You should feel every little rock or whatever, just that thing just bumping along, just pulling it to the side. Once you get to the side and you are completely 90 degrees out to your side, bring your rod tip back forward, and as you're doing that, reel up that slack. And once you get back in front and your slack is all taken up, repeat. Pull to the side. By doing that, you're maintaining that bottom contact, and now that thing looks like a little crawfish or something that's hopping along the bottom. Once you feel that bite, okay, if you're pulling, you're pulling, you're pulling, you're pulling, and boom, you feel that bite right there. Okay, you can either keep pulling a little bit to see if you can feel that pressure of that fish. And once you feel that pressure, here's one of the best ways to make that hook set. Okay, you're pulling, you're pulling, you're pulling, you're pulling, bump, you feel a bite. Okay, I'm not really sure, I'm gonna pull a little bit more. Okay, I feel pressure, I feel him pulling back on me. Bring your rod tip back forward, reel up that slack, and then sweep to the side again. But this time, nice hard sweep to the side. So again, straight out, you've made your cast, you're out there, it's on the bottom, you're pulling to the side, pulling to the side, pulling to the side, nothing. Come back in front, reel up your slack, pull into the side, bump, okay. Reel up the slack a little bit, you're still pulling. Okay, I feel pressure, come back forward, reel up slack, sweep to the side. That's a good way to set the hook on those type of baits, because one, you're way out there. You've cast it so far that if you were to just try to come up, you're probably not going to get a good hook set because the distance between your rod tip and that bait. So reeling up that slack and then a nice sweep to the side, you should get a very good hook set. That hook should penetrate somewhere on the side, or depending on if that fish has bit and turned, you should get a hook up anywhere from the top of the mouth to the side of the mouth. And then after that, your normal procedures of fighting a fish. But football head jig lures, football head jigs, Awesome baits to use. Okay, let's see here. That is all I have in the book. So now what we're going to do is I'm freestyling it. So here I have a Bait Labs. This is called their Bait Lab Wake 3D. It's black and amber is the color. I'm going to take this one out. Okay. I like these types. I like these. So these are your walking style baits. This almost looks like a golden shiner. But these are your walking style baits. This is a topwater lure. So your rod choice is going to be something around that 6'6" to 6'9", depending on you, fisherman, angler, your height. Because in order to work this bait, you got to make twitches in a downward motion. If you're a short guy, you don't want a 7-foot rod, because every time you twitch down, you're going to either be smacking the water or smacking your boat. So you want a short rod. This is going to sit on top of the water. This is like fishing a jerk bait. You won't slacken the line, because each little twitch you make, this lure, okay, I'm going to hold it this way, and I want you to imagine this is the water, this is the surface. As you're fishing this lure, every little twitch, this thing is going to go this way, and then when you twitch it again, it's going to make it come this way. So you want to twitch it so the speed, if you're twitching it slow, is going to go something like this. Twitch, 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 twitch. If you're doing it fast, and it's not going to go like way out here like I was just doing, unless you do a nice hard, fast twitch and you got enough slack, you could make it do this and kind of travel a little bit and come back like that. If you're doing a series of short, fast twitches, you will make this lure, it'll dance like this. Twitch, 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 twitch. Okay, that's the general idea of how this lure works. Those twitches, it's displacing water, meaning you're moving a lot of water, but if you guys can hear this, it's got a hard ball in there. For one, that ball is going to do two things. There is a weight in here. There's a little weight chamber, but that ball, when you throw this thing like that, that weight is going that way. So it's helping get some distance out there for you. But then when you start twitching this, that knocking sound is calling those fish. It's making some kind of noise, and that fish hears that, and they can hone in on where that sound is coming from. And then when they're looking up at the surface of the water and they see this thing twitching along like this, it looks like a bait fish on the surface trying to get away, or maybe a bait fish that is struggling. That triggers that bass into thinking, an easy meal. Let me come and get him. When that happens, you're going to see that blow up. You're going to see that splash on top of the water. If the fish grabs this bait, there's a couple of things you need to do for a good hook set. One, again, okay, this is under the water. This is the surface. Fish is coming up here. He's probably behind it a little bit. He's going to come up, blow up on top, grab, turn, go back down. You have to be watching this, because when you see that blow up, you need to give that fish enough time to turn back down to go into the water. When you see that, 1, 2, 3, wham! You're giving that fish time to get that bait in his mouth and turn and start going back down. Then you want to pop him and set that hook. Soon as that blow up on the surface and you try to set the hook, there is a good chance you could yank that thing right out of that fish's mouth before he's had a chance to close his mouth. So, good rule of thumb, you see the blow up on top. 1, 2, you should feel the pressure at 2, and you know for sure he's got it. Wham, set the hook on him. If not, there's nothing wrong with you're twitching, you're twitching, you're twitching, blow up on top. 1, 2, 3, wham, set the hook on him. With this, I would recommend either braided line or monofilament, just because monofilament has stretch in it, and that will give you that spongy feeling to give you a chance to set the hook on this on the fish and not yank the bait right out of his mouth. Plus that monofilament, while you're reeling that fish in, if that fish decides to surge downward, that little bit of stretch in there could give you some cushion so you don't break your line. The braid, I would probably go with maybe a 50-pound braid, because you can throw this next to a grass line, and if that fish turns and gets you into that grass, you're going to need that braid to yank him up out of there, cutting through that grass and stuff like that. If you're fishing around standing timber, I would probably throw this on the monofilament, because one, monofilament floats, and this is a topwater lure, so you don't want the weight of your line pulling your tip down. So that monofilament floats, so your bait will be able to sit on top of the water in a correct posture and doesn't look all wonky. But really good lure. I love throwing topwater lures. They're fun to work. They will give your wrist a workout. So make sure you have the right setup, rod and reel, so that way you're not feeling like you're having to overwork the lure and possibly causing injuries and stuff like that to your body. Okay, the next one I'm gonna pull out of here. Okay, another popping or another walking bait. This is a Livingston Lures popper bait. I believe Rebel was the company that first made the Pop R. So Rebel has the name Pop R, but this is a popper bait. This one is called their Walk and Pop Green Ghost Shiner. So again, if you can see that mouth, how it has that concave shape, just like working this lure, you're going to do popping motions down, except this one, you're going to be anywhere from a medium speed to a slow speed. And the reason I say that, if you do a slow pop, that mouth will grab water and spit the water. So now you're causing a whole lot of commotion because you're spitting that water, and it's making sometimes it makes a blurping noise when you do that. And it has that walking action. So take this bait and imagine now this bait has an open mouth. Plus it has that feathered tail. So every time you pop it, if you guys can see that feathered tail at the back, that feathered tail, when you pop it, it kind of streamlines, but then when it stops, it flares back out. So now it's giving it some visual action that's going to draw those fish in. This one is saying that it has a EBS multi-touch technology electronic bait fish sound. So when this is in the water, it emits a bait fish sound that's going to call those fish in. So that is pretty cool. I think one of the other baits that I got in my last month's bag, I think it was up here somewhere, it got broke during the delivery, but I think Livingston Baits have started putting some kind of a sound technology in all of their hard baits. So I might buy a couple of more Livingston baits to try that out to see how they work. But that's a pretty cool concept. Again, this style of bait is nothing new. It's just putting that technology in there is. But again, another great bait. And again, we have a Bait Labs bait. This is a jerk bait. This is what they call a holo shiner, H-O-L-O shiner, suspending bait, meaning it floats. The maximum depth of this is 5 feet, so you're talking a shallow lure. The weight, I'm not sure what the weight is, but once you get it down to its desired depth, with this bait, your line size will play a part. The lower the poundage is on your fishing line, the deeper you can get this. But I would not go any lower than 10 pound on your fluorocarbon, because you're putting yourself in a position where if you get a big one on there, I don't know if that 6 pounds will hold up to that fish. So I wouldn't go any lower than 10-pound test line with this. And again, your cadence is going to be dependent on your water temperature, your water clarity, and just overall the fish. Throw it out there, you know, get it down to the desired depth. So take you a couple of reels. That lip on there is going to get down to the desired depth, and then start your cadence. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. You can mix it up. 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, you know, whatever. Forward facing sonar, guys. A couple of years ago, Dustin Cornell, fishing the Major League Fishing, the Bass Pro Tour, I believe he won I think it was his first red crest fishing a jerkbait, but he was able to use his forward facing sonar. Every time he worked that lure, he was able to see if the fish was responding and change up his cadence. So if you have forward facing sonar, these are great baits to use because you can see how the fish are reacting to it, and it lets you know what you need to do if you need to change up something to try to trigger that bite. So really good lure. Okay, here we have a Bass Mooch baits. Old school bait right here. I used to catch a lot of fish, not on this brand, but this style of lure. It's a lizard. It's called My Boy Blue. They are 5.5 inches and 8 pieces. So rig this up with whatever style of hook. I would probably recommend a round bend hook. Throw this thing on a Texas rig, throw it on a Carolina rig. If you're throwing it on Carolina, again, get it out there, drag that thing back. Me and my dad, when we used to go fishing here at the Hurricane Lake, I caught a lot of fish on this style of lure, not this company, because this is a fairly new company, but I caught a lot of bass on these style of lures. They work, so no argument there, no guesswork. You know, they work. Last, I have a Cabin Creek Bait Company. This is a spider kit, so it comes with a jig head, and then it looks like some kind of a little grub. Let's see if this is already open. Yep, I can get in it. Okay, so you got this funny looking creature here. Okay, you can rig that up. It comes with a jig head. It doesn't tell me a weight, but it comes with this jig head. And then in here, it comes with this other little deal, and you guys can't see it, but it already has a hole in it. So it looks like you can take this piece, thread it up on your jig head first, and then rig this onto it next and work this almost like you're making your own jig right there on the boat. And I don't know, that probably would be a cool little lure to use. I bet you this would be a really good jig style bait to throw in like ponds and small little creeks. Probably be a good lure to use on like a small little spinning setup. As always, Monsterbass stickers. That's an old school sticker. We have some new stuff here, as well as our little Monsterbass card. Golden ticket. When you tune in to Monsterbass on YouTube on Wednesdays, if they call your number, you win prizes from Monsterbass. So that's all I have, guys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you like the video, you've made it this far and you like this video, please hit that like button. Once this rain, because here in Arkansas where I live, we've getting rain now. Once this stuff gets cleared up and I get a chance to clean my boat out, because I've got a buttload of leaves in there, I'm getting out there on the water. I'm bringing you guys with me, and hopefully we're going to catch some fish on camera. So Please, if you like the video, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you click the bell. Click on all so you get notified every time I drop a video. Like the videos, share the videos, comment on the videos, and be looking out for whenever I say we are about to do a giveaway. It could be another SixGill rod and reel. It could be a Monsterbass bag. I could reach out to Tungsten and probably give away a weight package that has an assortment of weights for whatever fishing style. Just be looking out, because I'm going to do something probably when we try to get to 500 subscribers. So thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you guys out there in the future catching some fish. But until then, y'all be good. See you in the great outdoors.